everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Vaughn and you are watching Venworx. And today we are going to be diving into everything that you can expect at Apple's WWDC conference this Monday, June 9th. Let's break it all down. So WWDC kicks off June 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it's going to be streaming from Apple Park or on their Apple YouTube channel. The keynote this year is expected to focus heavily on software with no major hardware announcements anticipated. Now, one of the biggest things that Apple is going to be expected to be doing at the conference is announcing a unified OS naming convention across the board. And instead of the usual incremental updates like from iOS 17 to iOS 18, and we were originally expecting to go to iOS 19, all platforms will adopt a 26 numbering scheme to represent the 2025 to 2026 year cycle. So we're going to see iOS 26, macOS 26, iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, tvOS 26, and visionOS 26. So a whole lot of 26 is coming right at you from Apple now. I think this is okay. It's a little weird, jumping that big, but it's stuff we've seen like with Samsung where they went from, going on their Note 10 and then jumped into the 20s to do the yearly naming convention themselves. And so it looks like Apple is doing a similar thing, and actually I think it'll be good. A lot of people will be able to know a little bit more easily what software is going in the year. So I don't think that this is a bad idea. I see why they're doing it, considering how many different little parts and pieces they have running around, and it'll really help people with making sure that they're on the latest software. The Apple 26 software is codenamed Solarium, and it's basically set to introduce a major design overhaul. I'm sure you've heard about some of it getting a glassy look, and that is basically going to be similar to what you see on the visionOS platform, and it's going to feature a more translucent, more unified, modern look across all the devices. So I'm actually excited about that. I really like the way visionOS looks. So I hope that they do it as clean and with the iPadOS coming down the pipe, iOS 26, there's expecting a lot of improvements to multitasking. And so, seeing some of the visionOS features maybe being introduced into Stage Manager. visionOS can expand the screen when you bring up certain menus. It changes the display and has very smooth transitions that are really cool. So it'll be really nice to see how this plays out in the other devices. But it's something I think Apple made a good call with this, and will really help to give a good D mark for this new naming convention. So, we hit 26 and you get this beautiful, beautiful change in the OS. And for certain devices like the iPad, you're going to get increased multitasking functionality, more, some have said more Mac-like functionality. I hope it's not Mac-like, not that that's a bad thing, but I do like that the iPads kind of have their own style. They're very touch oriented, and I hope that they have expanded upon the touch functionality more so than making it something that is specifically for keyboard and mouse. Not that that's a bad thing, especially if you're working on an iPad Pro. I'm sure you use the Magic Keyboard and something like that will be beneficial, but I'm hoping that it's not just changes to that part of it, and that we actually see some improved multitasking functionality with using the touch system itself and using the Apple Pencil Pro or Apple Pencil. So we'll see how that goes, but really looking forward to that. So to kind of summarize what's new with the iOS 26, it's basically a redesigned phone app that consolidates favorite contacts, recent calls, and voicemails into a single view. Safari will feature the transparent glass-like address bar, aligning with the new digital glass aesthetic. The camera app is getting a simplified interface, so that's cool. Messages will support polls and sync background images, and a new standalone games app is anticipated, replacing Game Center. So I actually like this announcement. Apple isn't big in the gaming space right now, and they've been working hard to kind of bridge that gap. And so seeing this is really signaling that they are taking the gaming market seriously, and they see that having gaming as part of Apple is going to help widen their market share. And I agree with them there. I think, the more people that can game on Mac, the more you'll see power gamers and power users probably make a switch. Not everybody who games wants to build their PC, but they do want that horsepower. And so if they can get that, in a nice, sleek design and, be able to roll with everybody else, then I think you're going to really start seeing some converts there. So it's a very smart decision, and I'm looking forward to see how their gaming pans out. Hopefully it won't go the way of Microsoft, but I think Apple's got a big plan for that, and so this is really cool to see. So watchOS is expected to get some enhanced customizations. It's going to get a new control center, and that's going to allow users to add third-party widgets along default toggles like Wi-Fi and battery, so that'll be pretty cool. And this marks a significant step towards personalization on the Apple Watch. And so widgets. I dig widgets, and to have very useful functional widgets, especially on an interface like the size of the Apple Watch screen, that can really open up the door to some cool interaction with the phone or with the watch itself. So looking to see how that will develop. So we'll have to stay tuned on that. Another cool thing that Apple is doing is with their AirPods. They're going to get some big upgrades as well. And one of the biggest ones is real-time language translations. And this is so cool. I hope this really works out in the real world. But if it does, starting to really get into sci-fi territory here with universal translators and Doctor Who TARDIS translations. And it'll certainly make travel a lot more easier for those of us who only speak one language. But really cool, really excited about this. I'm looking forward to see how this really pans out in the real world, and I'm anxious to try it myself. In addition to that, you're going to see some gesture-based controls being introduced, like nodding to answer the phone, tap to trigger a camera function, and improved sleep detection that pauses when you doze off to listening to lectures. So now we move into one of the big gripes people have with Apple right now, and that's Apple Intelligence. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to be announcing a lot to do with focus on consumers this year. I'm hoping they surprise us and actually announce something more consumer focused. But right now, the word on the street is it's going to be focused more on the developer side with new development tools that will allow third-party apps to integrate with Apple's AI language models. And that still can bring some cool functionality. I'm really hoping that they start allowing third-party apps to have pretty much all of the Apple AI intelligence available, but even starting with the language models, that'll be something cool. Like I use Microsoft Outlook for my mail on my iPad, and it would be really cool to be able to compose emails with the Apple Intelligence. So we'll see how that pans out, but this is more on the developer side, so hopefully they'll announce it with some already pre-baked third-party integrations. I'm sure they will. So we'll keep a light on that one and see how that goes. So now that we know everything that Apple is going to be possibly doing according to our wonderful leakers, what can we not expect at the conference this year? Well, as stated earlier, we're not expecting any new hardware announcements. Usually things like the iPhone 17 and the new MacBooks are usually reserved for announcements in the fall in a separate event. And Siri, Siri. Well, they're saying it's unlikely to make an appearance this time, so it's unlikely to make an appearance on my iPad as well until something there happens, but we'll keep a light on for that one as well. So that's a wrap on what to expect at WWDC on Monday. Shaping up to be a pretty exciting show with the software. I'm really looking forward to the UI, and I'm looking forward to the AirPod translation. So I'm going to be tuning in. Make sure you tune in again Monday, June 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe. And we'll bring you more and more tech insights and other sundries as we continue on this wonderful adventure together. Let me know in the comments which update you're most excited about. I'd really love to hear that. And if you have any additional rumors you may have heard, feel free to drop them in and we can talk about that as well as we get our popcorn ready for this Monday. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next go round.